Hi everyone, I'm Varshine.
I'm Naghmeh.
We are user researchers who work at Cisco. And today we're going to be talking about a framework that we have for informed consent for work collaboration applications. So by work collaboration applications, I mean applications we've all become familiar recently. So there's Microsoft Teams, Zoom, WebEx, and so on. And we've been using it more and more at our work. Um, so in today's world, we leave a lot of digital footprint. If someone were to look at my digital footprint today, they'll find a lot of interesting information about me. One would be my profound love for cheesecake. Um, Maybe my obsession with Taylor Swift's latest album, and maybe some of my journaling habits. If there was, based on this personal profile that is created, I get a lot of recommendations for what shows to watch, where I should go eat, and I really I enjoy all of that. But sometimes I get ads that make me feel like they know a little too much about me. So now let's take this concept a little further. What if there's a work profile that can be generated based on my working habits? For instance, maybe I multitask during certain meetings, or I listen to Beyonce after an exhausting meeting. What if AI can connect the dots and create a profile for me that needn't necessarily be private? I would be quite uncomfortable with that. To ease this worry, I need to know what information I'm sharing, with whom I'm sharing it, and who has access to this data. In the realm of AI and data privacy, providing peace of mind for our users is paramount. It's not about legal compliance, it's about fostering transparency. When users know what information they're sharing and with whom they're sharing it, they're likely going to make more informed decisions, which will eventually enhance their trust with the application. Another reason we find this topic more timely is because innovation is happening within the collaboration space right now. There are a lot of AI-based features coming in, such as meeting summarization, AI assistance during meetings, and so on. I'm very excited about these innovations because it's most likely going to make me more efficient at work. But at the same time, I can really empathize with users who probably are concerned about sharing their data with their work application. As Naghmeh and I spoke about these concerns, we landed on this question. How might we equip users to make informed decisions and feel empowered? Now I'm going to hand it off to Naghmeh to talk a little more about what we did.
Thanks, Varshine. Here is our approach. We did a heuristic evaluation of collaboration application with AI features. For those of you who might be interested to know more about heuristic evaluation is a method to identify design problems in products, usually with a set of guidelines. If you're interested to know more, NN Group has really good articles about this method. Another approach we took was the literature review of privacy and trust theories. And also, we conducted a survey with over 400 people to capture their perceived behavior and attitudes towards privacy and data sharing. Based on our review, we identified 3 main touchpoints that users interact with their data sharing and privacy information: installation, within settings, and through AI interface when they experience the product. We are going to walk you through these 3 touchpoints and share our learnings. Let's start with installation. What did you agree to when you last installed an app? Do you remember? We'd like you all here, and also our virtual audience, to take a few moments and think about this question. Our audience here, could you please raise your hand if you remember what you agreed to last you installed an app? Anyone? Unfortunately, we can't tell what our virtual audience say, but Varshine and I also thought about this question as well, and we asked around. We couldn't remember. And guess what? We are not alone. Based on a Deloitte study from 2017, 91% of people skip reading privacy policies. Our survey also echoed this number, this finding. Only 13% of participants claimed they read privacy policies thoroughly, which was very interesting. And we believe there are multiple reasons behind why we are not reading privacy policies. Usually, we have to go through multiple layers, multiple clicks. Feels like a maze. Another reason is the length of these privacy policies. They're usually long. In fact, Varshine and I evaluated the length of privacy policies on top 3 meeting applications. The average length for these privacy policies is 5,500 words, which is equal to 11 pages, which takes over an hour for an average reader to just read a simple text in this length. And these privacy policies are usually packed with intricate details on privacy practices and may not be feasible for everyone, specifically in work environment where these products are indispensable. So here is a piece of one of these privacy policies. It's just a paragraph. It's a short paragraph. Varshine and I had to go through this paragraph a few times, and at the end we were unsure if we are sharing our data with third parties or not. So after spending hours going through these privacy policies, this GIF really shows how we felt at the end. We also consulted with Bard, now Gemini, and here is a nugget of wisdom from Gemini. Don't be afraid to skip dense legal jargon. If you can't understand it, it probably doesn't impact your data. We don't agree with this advice. So reviewing the installation and our learnings in this phase, we believe installation is not a great touch point for us to inform our users. While we have to for legality and regulation, following the regulations and also safeguarding the companies, we have to provide these and also in response to the needs of that 9% who might read or claim reading these privacy policies thoroughly. We should provide it, but we should not count on this touch point as a place to inform our users. So now let's look at the settings. We did a heuristic evaluation of settings across multiple collaboration applications. And there were a few points that stood out for us. One is the difficulty finding data handling information. We've been sent out of the application usually to get the information. If we wanted to cover all aspects of privacy and data sharing, we had to go and look around. We've been sent out of the product. Another fact is usually these settings are bundled into one. So if a company offers multiple products, such as meetings and messaging, the user doesn't have an option to activate AI only on one of these features or products. You either have a choice to activate and use AI across multiple features, or you should decide that you don't want to use it. Another fact is usually these settings are controlled by admins and not end users. Based on our survey, 76% of people prefer manual opt-in over their admins make the decision for them. The way that these settings are designed does not align with what our users really prefer. We also looked at the usage of the settings. So we asked this question in the last 6 months, and we would like you all to think about this question too. In the last 6 months, have you ever changed your privacy settings in your work collaboration applications or any other apps? I'd like you to raise your hand here, and our virtual audience, please think about this question. Anyone remembers in the last 6 months? Okay. No one used their privacy settings here, at least in this audience. So based on our survey, 42% of people said they have not changed their privacy settings in the last 6 months. 26% were unsure, and 32% of people claimed they checked their privacy settings and they changed it in the last 6 months. So we looked more closely into these 42%. We realized 30% of this population were very concerned about their privacy. While they were concerned about their privacy, it was interesting to see this conflict. Like they have not changed their privacy settings in the last 6 months, but they voiced high level of concern about their privacy. This leads us to a very famous paradox in the field of privacy paradox. While people express strong concerns about their privacy, they fail to take easy and inexpensive actions to protect their data and their privacy. Giovanni Buttarelli, a European data protection supervisor, in his keynote speech in 2018 in a privacy conference, reframed this privacy. He explained the issue is not users' conflicting desire to hide or to expose. The paradox is we have not yet learned how to navigate new possibilities and vulnerabilities of rapid digitization. And we think this is even more critical with the advent of generative AI. So reviewing what we learned from our heuristic evaluation and also literature review of the settings, we came to this conclusion that settings are not also the best touch point for us as UX professionals to empower our users. It's our duty to provide granular settings for those people, that 32% who claim they go and they change their privacy settings, and also use design treatments to motivate other people to go and be in charge of their data, use settings more often. We should not rely on this touch point as a touch point to inform our users. So now let's look at our learnings about AI interface. Through a privacy lens, we looked at 3 main experiences when we did our heuristic evaluation of multiple collaboration applications. We looked at the host and attendees experience. We looked at the free versus paid version, and also AI-generated summaries. There were a few points that we felt these companies are doing really well. One is initiating AI for each instance of meeting or use of AI. For example, if there is a meeting, both host and attendee are notified about activation of AI. When we experienced this, we felt confident that we are in charge. We felt empowered. Another fact that we felt they're doing really well was the indication of AI's presence during the meeting. So there was a glowing icon or a symbol that showed us AI is listening or not. It created a peace of mind for us to feel we are informed. So it's not listening to us without us knowing. Another one was a disclaimer by AI, disclaimer about the AI-generated summaries may not be accurate. This created a sense of transparency and trust. We realized, okay, we are informed, it might not be accurate, so we go back and we check. There were a few points that we felt these companies are falling short. One was the level of control between the meeting's host and the attendee. So the meeting host has more freedom and choices in choosing what we share, what we are not sharing, if we decide to activate or not activate AI. The attendee doesn't have many options. So I decided I'm using a free version to join a meeting that Varshine was hosting. And I came across 2 options. So one was, I accept AI, I activate AI and join the meeting, or I leave the meeting. I found it a bit intrusive to not having any other options. Imagine if this is a meeting with my boss, and what should I do? Can I not join the meeting? There's no other options. I have to activate AI and just join and share my information, share my data. Another fact was the language on data sharing. Similar to what we shared in privacy, usually the content is filled with technical and legal jargon, which is not easy for us to understand. Honestly, these are designed by lawyers for lawyers. It's not easily understandable. Another fact that we found vague was the indication of what data is being used for AI-generated summaries. So we reviewed one of the summaries that AI generated for us after one of these meetings using one of these applications. We came across a paragraph that reported the feeling of people who attended this meeting. And it was shocking because we didn't know how come AI came to this decision, how we are feeling during this meeting. Did they use our expressions? Did they use our gestures, our words, our transcript? Or maybe we were multitasking and they captured something. So this insecure feeling was not great. Another fact was we were not sure how long our data will live there. So there was no indication of data lifespan when we activated AI. So reviewing in AI interface and how we interacted with AI during meetings, and also reviewing the AI-generated summaries, we believe this phase, this touch point, is the main touch point that we can make the impact and move the needle to empower our users. Our users don't have other option except interacting with AI through the experience. It's not like they can skip reading. They are going to interact with AI if they want to use it. So we think this is the land of opportunity for us as UX professionals. So we went back to our question that we started with. How might we equip our users to make informed decisions and feel empowered? I'm handing it back to Varshine to tell you how we answered.
Thanks, Naghmeh. So looking at this question and also looking at our survey data, we found something very interesting. We asked the participants of our survey, when it comes to their work collaboration applications, data usage for AI purposes, what did they find most concerning? We didn't find it surprising that they said data breaches and leaks, but what we did find surprising was 44% almost, were concerned about the lack of control of their data, the transparency, and not knowing what data is being collected. This information, along with everything we have learned for settings as well as privacy policies, we developed an integrated framework. And I'm very excited to share it with you all. Presenting to you the 3C framework, which is an integrated framework for informed consent. It consists of 3 pillars: consent, convey, and control. So consent refers to collecting users' permission to be able to collect or use their data. Convey refers to the communication of AI's presence, the system status, as well as the different data handling practices that are present. And finally, control refers to the user's ability to manage AI's presence as well as the information that they're sharing. I'm going to walk you all through each one of these pillars and the different characteristics associated with it. We have also put together a list of do's and don'ts that we hope would be useful for anyone who decides to use the 3C framework. Looking at the first pillar, consent primarily focuses on getting users permission to collect or use their data. The characteristics include being informed, and it needs to be unambiguous. So users need to clearly understand what they're consenting to and not be confused about what they're consenting to. The next characteristic is explicit agreement. Users shouldn't be opted in by default. They must make an explicit choice to consent to sharing their data. Informed, unambiguous, and explicit agreement are all in line with GDPR guidelines. For those who are unfamiliar with GDPR, it is one of the strictest privacy and security laws that is followed by the EU Union. Added to this is progressive consent, which is the user's ability to consent in context of their use. An example of this is instead of having a blanket consent across all my meetings, it would be great if I could consent as to which meetings I would like AI present versus which meetings I'd like for it to not be present. I'm going to go through the do's and don'ts related to consent. So it's very important that we do consent incrementally over a period of time and for a specific purpose. It is very important that it's done in as few steps as possible, and we use simple language so users can clearly understand what they're consenting to. For those who want additional information or more detailed information, it'll be great to provide links so that they don't have to run around finding for more resources. And what is important for each one of these pillars is that it's tested with users with a variety of privacy concerns, so that we make sure that we are catering to them as well. Some of the don'ts include do not assume that people read. It was clear from privacy policies that people probably don't read it in too much detail. And so it's very important to keep it concise. And finally, do not opt in users by default. Always provide the choice for users to share their data. The next pillar is convey, which is about the ongoing communication about AI system status, its presence, and the data handling practices. It is important to keep users informed throughout their journey while interacting with the system and not just at the initial stages. The different characteristics of convey include clarity. Providing clear communication via the AI interface is really important, especially about data handling practices. Consistency, which refers to consistent communication, especially when the data sharing status changes, to communicate to users what data is being used and not used. Transparency, be very clear to the users as to what is being done with their information and what the outcome is going to be. Value proposition, clearly convey to users what the trade-offs are of sharing data versus not sharing data. What are the risks associated with sharing data? And finally, reach. This is especially important for products that have multiple devices or multiple platforms that are involved. Clearly specify if data is aggregated across a single user, multiple users, or a single device or multi-devices. Here are some of the do's and don'ts associated with convey. It's very important that we convey using simple language, and we convey what data is collected, how it is being used, who has access to it, where is it being stored, and what is the lifespan. It is also important to elaborate the consequence of data sharing and the risks associated with it. Some of the don'ts include not using legal terms or technical jargon that will be very difficult for users to understand. The last pillar is control, which allows for users to dictate their data management and provide the ability to influence AI presence. It consists of the following characteristics. So it consists of real-time management, which is provide the ability for users to make timely decisions about their AI presence. An example of this is privacy nudges. Wouldn't it be great if the AI interface can say, hey, you haven't checked your data or privacy settings in a while, do you want to review them? The next characteristic is multi-level application. This is especially applicable to companies that have different roles within their platform. For example, in a meeting, there's often two roles. There's host as well as attendee. And providing granular controls that's appropriate for those roles would be really helpful. This is also applicable to enterprise software, where there could be a user role as well as admin role. So having granular controls for them would also really help them. And finally, continuity. Providing a sustained set of controls so users can quickly access them via the AI interface would definitely make users feel like they're in charge of their data. Here are the list of do's and don'ts associated with control. Provide users to be able to control AI presence within a particular instance. Allow users to delete their shared data or revoke any permissions they have given up earlier. Explore design treatments such as privacy nudges that help users, like remind them that they still have control over their data. Some of the don'ts include hiding data controls such that it's difficult for users to find them. And finally, sacrificing the individual privacy for organizational benefit. I'd like to leave you all with this final thought. It's a great time where we're going to see more innovation, especially with generative AI. I'm very excited for the different innovations that's going to be within collaboration because it's going to make us more efficient. It's especially important at this time that we think about how we can help users make informed decisions about their data, especially while you design AI-based experiences. The 3C framework is just the first step in this direction, and I hope it's useful to all of you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join our session. This is information about us if you want to talk more about it. And thank you to our virtual audience as well. I believe we're now open for Q&A. Yeah, if you have any questions.
Oh, okay. Just so everyone knows, I'm going to be alternating between chat and in-person questions. And for in-person attendees, please wait for me to come to you with the mic, just for accessibility purposes and for our online folks.
Hi, good morning. So I work for a university where like data integrity is like really important. We have like FERPA compliances that we have to abide by and everything. So I appreciated your talk on, like the Zoom and just applications like that. But do you have any other? Have you done any other research on applications that collect more data than just the typical?
Could you give me examples of that?
For instance, any kind of, for instance, we use Airtable, and we have tons of data in there from student, faculty, and also staff.
Sure. So I think we predominantly looked at collaboration applications, but I think some of the, it's very important to look at the privacy policy. What we learned right now is that it's so granular and it takes so long to understand it. But I think working with the teams within your university to kind of see what the legal compliance is like and so on would be really helpful. And also suggestion, if you work with Airtable more closely as they bring in more AI features, I think suggesting to their product teams that we probably need more and voicing that concern to them. Yeah, that's what I think. But, yeah.
Yeah, you can ask them, if you're working closely with them, you could ask them for more clarity. If you don't see it, so the 3C, basically we developed it for UX professionals to empower our users. If you don't feel empowered, you definitely need to reach out to them. We didn't look at Airtable. We are actually using Airtable as well. But we didn't look at closely at their privacy and how they inform users. But yeah, if you don't feel empowered, it means you can ask them for more.
The 3Cs are fantastic. Have you seen that? Have you published that internally at Cisco or even elsewhere? And have you seen it take hold in any way?
This is our first attempt at trying to make it more popular. So thank you for this audience for being supportive. But we hope, I think we're going to look at it more closely as we work through AI experiences within Cisco itself in our role. But I think all this has really helped us think more closely about it, and we hope it's useful for others as we learn through it. But we don't have results as yet. If we do, I'll let you know.
And then a second question is regarding that relationship between corporate IT and administrators and we users. Can you talk a little bit about that? And it sounds like you might be in just the infancy of exploring that relationship, but I think it's a huge dynamic. in, all of our future state, right? Like, what do I have permissions to do as the user? What does admin want from me? There's a whole layer there, and I wondered if you could talk a little bit about what you're thinking about with regard to that relationship.
Sure. So because we are working mainly on enterprise, so we have this dynamic, our interaction, we have a strong interaction, a relationship with admins. And we also want to capture end users, specifically their need. Yeah, there's always this misalignment that users don't have the authority to make the decisions. So that's why we brought that one as a part of this framework, because we feel they deserve, and as they said, they want manual opt-in. So they should be in charge. They should have given a chance to make the decision. So, but yeah, it's a pattern across many, specifically enterprise. And there are reasons for it too. We need to follow each company has regulations, compliance. They have to follow those. So, yeah.
I even wondered when you talked about some of the early survey work you did, whether there was sentiment, considered in there as well. Like, what is the user's experience even just going to download that app? Like, can I do this? Is it okay? Do I need, it's really fascinating.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, through the survey, I don't think we covered that aspect, but it's a very good one to collect as we go ahead, I think, as the next step. So that's a great suggestion. But yeah, I think, any other points? No? Okay. Just want to make sure we covered it.
Can you show me a specific example of a hidden setting, privacy setting, interface design of any of the company?
Well, we are keeping that as confidential. We didn't mention any products because of legal reasons.
I see.
But it's easy to explore. Just look for something and see how you can manage things through the setting. So what we did, the heuristic is like that. You usually have a set of tasks and you have a set of guidelines. So you follow those and then you test. And we realized there are so many things that are hidden and not easily accessible. But I'm sorry that we couldn't, we went through these, we had the screenshots when we did the heuristic, but we can't really share the walkthrough evaluation.
I see.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sorry.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Already a big fan of the 3C framework. So I was curious to know that since you have the framework it presented to us, any thoughts on how you hope to evangelize it with your PMs, engineers, designers, or how do you educate them about this framework?
I think just reminding I think initially for me as going through the process is just understanding how difficult it is and kind of highlighting to them as, working in WebEx, I guess, providing the empathy for users with the PM and so on to realize that this is a concern. I think sharing that data that these are top of mind for our users and this probably plays a role in things like adoption and so on. So at least sharing this with them, kind of letting them know that
Thank you.
Thanks for the presentation. Excuse me. So who do you think should take ownership of the 3C framework at an organization? Should UX lead this, or do other roles need to lead this work?
So we believe our whole goal was, to tell everyone that we all are responsible. It's not just the designers, it's not just the engineers. Usually in every company, one group is dominant, but we believe this should be top of mind for everyone, and we all should be responsible. We believe, it empowers us. We are users of AI, and WebEx also is integrated. We're doing a lot with AI, but we believe this should be top of mind for us to respect users' rights and their privacy. So yeah, basically everyone should be. Any other question?
Do we have any more questions?
Well, in that case, thank you all. It was really nice of you all to come
Yeah,
to the
thanks a
session.
lot.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.